Alright, good morning. I hope you are having a good Saturday. Today I am going to be working on a thing called Dovin, which is a proof assistant I wrote for solving these types of magic problems where you've got opponent has 16 life, you need to win this turn. What are you going to do? How do you keep track of everything? That's what this is going to be about. So let's get into it. So first of all, this here is Dovin. I'll copy an existing solution that we can work off. So Ravnica Allegiance, we'll just take the most recent one. And I think this is number 5. Like that. Open it up. Change to 5. Delete all of this stuff because it's old. And then I'll set up just a REPL over here that we can use to run things. Okay, there we go. So you can see over here that now it's running at initial state, life is 13, because that's the thing that I left here. So if we actually look at the puzzle, opponent's life total is 16 and ours is 17. Whoops. And we'll set up a formatter here so we can actually keep track of the various things. So we have the opponent life and our life. Doesn't like that because that's wrong. There we go, now it shows both. So we need to do a little bit of setup to put the cards on the board. I'm sort of just going to add the cards as they become relevant, you know, so unfortunately I can't display both the cards and my screen at the same time, but I can provide a link if you need it, or you can just screenshot it off the start of this video. So first things first, I actually don't know how to solve this puzzle. I have an idea that I think will work, but I haven't actually gone through it. That's what this process is. So so this puzzle starts with Fall of Thran triggering, which lets us return 2 lands from our graveyard. So I don't actually have proper support for these sagas yet, but in this case we don't really need to keep track of it, we can just trigger it. So we'll trigger it with, you need to give triggers a name. Well, I guess we don't, because we're just going to trigger it and then resolve it immediately. So I'm not actually going to bother giving it a name. Giving it a name's handy if you want to track various different stuff on the stack at the same time. So trigger that. That's going to fail because the card does not exist. So with location in play, we want to add an enchantment called Fall of Thran. Fall of the Thran. There we go, and now you can see our formatter is showing us all the cards that are in play, and it shows us that it's there, and this trigger is indeed working. Alright, so once it triggers, we need to move to play. We're going to bring in a forest and a swamp, because we want to play Song of Free Release. So forest, I actually can't remember the API for this. Doesn't like that. Move to, oh okay, that's how it works. So move to play like that. Card does not exist. So this is a proof assistant. So we could, that means that it's sort of on us to determine how rigorous we want to be at each step. So at the moment, we're not actually specifying that these cards are in our graveyard. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. We can use the move helper, so move from to name, so we could actually do, and actually I think this is clearer. Is that, yeah, because I think this actually requires us to specify which player we're at, because this sort of using an old API. Yeah. So I don't love that. I've tried to move away from this idea of having to specify the active player. Instead, you can sort of say you can set kind of the active player. So for now, I'm just going to use move to, given that this isn't really that interesting a part of the solution, I don't think. So we're going to move the M into play. That's our first step. Second step is to cast Song of Free Elise. So the general idea here, actually I'll write it down. So our approach is for mana. So Song of Free Elise basically says we can tap our creatures. We can tap our creatures to get mana. So we're going to do that. Then we want to use Vona to clear opponent's board. Well, actually, so we want to like use Wild Growth Walker to gain life. That untaps the Famished Paladin, which basically lets us generate more mana. We need to get to 28 life overall. Sorry, we actually need to get 29 so we don't die, because we want to activate Vona 4 times. And then we use Depth to clear the final creature. Then attack with all, and if we have +1/+1 from Raw and an Explore and all creatures that can attack, that should be 16 damage. So that's the general approach that we're going to take here. Alright, so back to here, cast Song of Free Elise. So cast for 1 green, Song of Free Elise, and this should sell. Okay, doesn't exist. I'll just copy this. Song of Free Elise. Mana pool. So this is another cool thing it does. It tracks your mana pool for you. It says we don't have enough mana to cast this. So we'll tap the forest and the swamp. Great, now it's on the stack, and we'll just resolve it. I don't think there's going to be too much stack manipulation in this puzzle, so we can just use resolve top. The other thing we can do is you can actually resolve and give it a card name, and it will tell you if you're trying to resolve something that's not on the top. But in this case, we don't really care. Alright, so that means that all of the creatures can now tap for mana. So now what we're going to do is, I think we just start generating. We generate as much mana as we can. And let's cast Wild Growth. So get that on the board. Cast Wild Growth by tapping. So tap for mana. We can use add 1 mana of any color, so we'll use green. So we're going to use the Paladin. And we're going to use the 10th District Veteran. And they don't exist yet, so we need to add them. Famished Paladin and 2-3 for the... Oops. So one thing I like to do here, so we've just, there's nothing here that sort of connects Song of Free Release to tapping these things for mana. Tap for mana doesn't really care. If we can actually load up the documentation for that, and it tells us a combination of tap and add mana, and they tell you exactly what it validates. So it validates that the card is in play and it's not tapped, and it taps it. And then add mana just does that. So this proof assistant only knows the sort of preconditions and stuff that have been programmed in. So in this case, it just says, yeah, sure, we can tap that card and generate mana. Of course we can. One thing I like to do in this kind of thing is tap with free release, or tap via. Tap with is fine. So of course that doesn't exist, because this is sort of a problem-specific mana card. This is a problem-specific helper. But so we can start by just doing the same thing like that. Then what we can do is something, we can validate we can do this to basically do some arbitrary validation on a particular card. So now, if we don't cast, let's say we don't resolve Song of Free Release, so it's actually not in play yet. Yeah, see, it errors out on us. So it also just makes it a little bit clearer to read. So if I'm reading this proof, I can be like, oh yeah, tap with free release makes sense. Alright, so we're doing that. We're casting our Wild Growth Walker. We'll resolve that. Now so now we get some triggers. So we're going to trigger Explore from Path of Discovery, which basically says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, it explores. We also... Okay, so that's not going to work yet because neither of those cards exist, so we just add them in. The creature 1/3 Walker, and then Path of Discovery. Okay, now the Explorer is triggered. We resolve it. So in this particular puzzle, our library is empty. So Explore is always just going to add a +1 counter. So I actually don't have a good helper for this yet. How do I typically do it? Yeah, like this. Which is kind of gross. The reason this is gross... Actually, it's not too bad. The thing I mostly don't like about this is typically the card name should be at the end of the method. Whereas here, it's in the middle. So that kind of sucks. But you can see now on the left here that our Wild Growth Walker got that +1/+1. But of course, it explored. So actually, I think I did this wrong, because does the Wild Growth trigger when the Explore resolves? I guess it has to, right? So trigger gain life on our Wild Growth Walker. And again, these descriptions here are purely informational. They don't actually mean anything. So we'll resolve that. So that means, I think, like that. Oops. Expected type int. There we go. Yep, so we have 20 life rather than 17 life, which is what we want. And of course that triggers Famished Paladin. Then we untap Paladin. Alright, and you can see that, you know, so one thing, I actually noticed a bug the other day, which is, notice here, so 10th District Paladin, oh no, this is right, because we tap and then untap the Paladin in the same thing, so that works. Yeah, I think there's some, when state-based actions come into play, I think the formatting happens before the state-based actions apply, which means you get tokens in your graveyard and stuff. But not the problem we're having at the moment. So we now have Wild Growth on the board. Let's... well, we should use Vona as well, because we want to do that early and often. So I may even do that back up here. So step... use Vona to destroy, and actually it doesn't even really matter which, I don't think it matters what order we destroy, because we're not dealing damage. Yeah, we're not dealing damage, so just to simplify things, we'll get rid of the bodyguard first, because it's the thing that can sack to save other people, and it kind of doesn't matter, because if it sacks to protect one or we destroy it, same effect. But I just don't want to have to bother with the triggers. So let's... so we want to activate... Magan. So activate is you get a label, same thing you do for trigger. You get a cost. In this case, the cost is tap and 7 life, not mana, so it's just no mana. But we'll also tap and we'll lose life 7, like that. Card doesn't exist. What is it, a 4/4? Destroy is activated, and we actually got an error, stack is not empty, because here we never resolved this, and then we tried to cast something, and you can't cast things, you can't cast creatures when there's stuff on the stack. So alright, we will resolve top, and we will destroy our Dauntless Bodyguard. Card does not exist. Alright, so we want to do as opponent. See, the stats of these don't really matter, but it's really like we're gonna kill them all anyway. So okay, and you can see now that the bodyguard has ended up in the graveyard, so that is promising. Alright, so we've cast Wild Growth. Now we want to... So we're going to cast the Branch Walker. We're going to cast Enter the Unknown. So I think... Yeah, let's cast the Branch Walker first. So cast... Cast... Alright, so we'll need to tap the Paladin. We will tap the Cacophodon. Actually, is this what I want to do? I need to control, because I need to untap Vona 3 times, but it's okay because I've got Rallying Roar when we attack and from Jace, so this is fine. We don't need to rush into that. This is really just getting enough life to be able to activate Vona is what we're doing at the moment. So we'll tap with Free Release, and we'll tap that, and then we'll cast our Branch Walker. that's going to do basically this same thing here. So we might wrap this up into a method, but we actually get 2 explores here because we get I'm actually going to solve them separately. So resolve the first one, and we do that. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to float mana from the paladin. So then we will tap the free release for another green. Our paladin, and then we'll do the whole thing again. Yep. We want a 2/5 Cacophedon, and we want a 2/1. And I realize I just put the +1/+1 counters on the wrong thing, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, we spelt it wrong. Okay, so things on the stack, well, basically things on the stack and things anywhere are required to have a unique name. All right, so now we should have two +1s on the branch walker. Yes, we do. We should have a heap of life, 19 up from 13, so that's good. We gained twice. And then may as well void all the mana. So at the moment, we actually can't see what's in our mana pool, so let's change that. I think count too few arguments. Yeah, there we go. Your opponent has a mana pool as well. So you can see now that we have 2 mana in our pool. So this isn't actually reporting colors, it's just counting n number of things. So all right, so now we've done that. Now we want to we need one more explore off the Enter the Unknown. Does it matter? I don't think it matters who gets the Enter the Unknown target because everybody's going to end up tapping anyway. So let's Enter the Unknown on 10th district. I'll just choose one of our cards randomly. So it costs a green, which we have in our pool. And oops, sorry. Enter the Unknown. Solve top. Target. 10th district. Veteran. So once again here, like this target, we could just not target here because we know that it's going to work, but it's pretty easy. It helps see what's going on. And now we do an explore. So yeah, I definitely want to wrap this all up into a method so that we're not pasting it everywhere, but that will work for now. Card does not exist, Enter the Unknown. Add sorcery. There we go. So now we have 22 life. So now we have enough life because that gives us 3 more activations of Vona. And then as long as we can generate enough mana to cast Depth of Desire, which we can, I'm pretty sure that we are golden. So before I do this, I'm just going to quickly add all of the remaining creatures that are on the board so we don't forget them. There are 5 of them. We have a 3/4 Temple Altasaur. We have a 2/2 Everdon Champ. We have the Bed. Archive. It's 2/4. We have the Dauntless Bodyguard. I already have that. And then we have the 3/5 Imperial Ceratops. Alright, so all of our creatures tapped that can be tapped. So we can't tap Wild Growth Walker for mana. So actually, this is a thing that it does. So like, let's say that we tried to do that. Wild. That would actually... I was expecting that to fail. Okay. Oh, right, because tap... so now we have a question, right? So tap currently doesn't validate whether the creature is summoned or not. I think probably should. So let's add that in. So this is now me actually modifying the library. So we want it to validate... card is... it's not summoned or has... Oh wait, so this only applies to creatures because lands can tap straight away and other stuff can tap straight away. So if creature is not summoned or has haste, that's kind of what we want. And let's write a test for it because we should. We already have a test script for tap, so I'm just going to pull this out. Okay, so this is the tap. We want to do that. Just reloaded test mode. I guess I haven't compiled. Oh yeah, I bumped my GHC version, so I haven't compiled this. But effectively, I want to add an extra refutation. Requires creature not summoned. So let's actually set this up. So with location hand, add creature. It doesn't really matter what it is actually. So we expect that to fail. Why did that? All right, because this is the old way of doing things, and we want to do the new way of doing things. Match. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, because we're around the wrong way. Yes, this was using the old API, and we're now using the new API. Just hadn't updated everything. Alright, that's looking better. We want to use the test driver. Main runs all our tests. One of them failed. Soldiers not match requirements in play, and not has a tribute tab. Yep, that's because it failed. Actually, I wonder if I can. Right, so that's what I want to be running. So rather than run main, let's run the focus method. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to tap. We want to validate. So when, because how do I do this? Oh, I know. I can say, so either it's not I think we've called it invert actually. Wait a second, sold does not match requirements in play. So actually I did this wrong, we need to resolve it. Okay, sorry, that's actually the failure we wanted. I was too hasty. So the proof was not refuted, but we actually want this to fail. Okay, so either it's not a creature, or we actually have a similar check for attack with. There. And in this case, we want it to. Well, we'll see what this does. All right. The requirement is that it does not have summoning sickness. It currently has summoning sickness, therefore it fails, which is what we wanted. Okay, the formatting's a bit weird there, but whatever. Great. So let's. The reason it's still failing is because I match on does not have. Great. I should actually I could actually add in, because I kind of cheated here because I just copy pasted this. I should actually add in a test for haste as well. Can taps creature with haste. Let's make it a goblin because they typically okay, that's good because it failed. Validate. I mean, that should work. Why does that not work? Location hand. We cast it. Right. That should still work. I think I'm missing something obvious. Okay, no, it is this. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Alright. Is it? Ah, there we go. So it should be that. I think I've messed up my Boolean logic. So that's what we expect, right? Because we inverted it. Let's see if there's a different way we can do this. Here we go. When, I mean, why don't we like that? Okay, so we could do it like this. I feel like I'm just doing something stupid here. And I kind of want to move on, so we're going to do it like this. Require card actually does the validation for us, so oh, it doesn't like it, doesn't like it. And that's that. Okay, sorry that was kind of roundabout, but we got there. Alright. Taps creature with haste. Taps creature without summoning sickness. Great. Okay, that'll do. Yeah, great. So add 4. All right. All right, go back to where we were. Pop the stack. Okay, so what we were hoping would happen was if we that should fail, not in scope focus. Let's do that for now. Oh, I accidentally committed that. I didn't want to commit that. Of course, that's not going to work. And there we go. That's exactly what we expected. So, all right, back to where we are. I want to untap all of our creatures. So to do that, let's float all of our mana. So who can create mana here? A paladin can? Only a paladin. Because everything else is done. So we're just gonna float mana from creatures, untap with Jace. Right? Yep. So yes, we can do that. Now we want to actually don't have great support for oh, actually, or do I? Planes. Oh, activate Planeswalker. I do have. Alright, let's try that. So we want to activate Planeswalker for 1. Doesn't like it because I spelled it wrong. Activate plane. Oh, right. Different type of plane. Alright, add Planeswalker 1. No, sorry. Has 3 counters. Great. This doesn't use a stack yet because it's one of the old style things, so we don't actually resolve it. It's a bit weird, but that's fine. So now what we want to do is for all cards that are in play and match attribute tapped, we want to untap them. That appears to have worked. Hooray. Untap all creatures. Yeah, no, this actually probably matches their creatures as well. I think. That's probably not quite right. Yeah, that's not quite right. So we need something like match controller. So. Yeah, there we go. I mean, not that it matters because their creatures aren't tapped. So that still works. Alright, so now we use Vona again. Alright, to destroy the Ceratops. Good, it's now in the graveyard. See that here. How much mana do we have? 2 still, that's fine. So now we do the same thing and cast Rallying Roar. So this time we're going to float blue. Actually, I'm just going to... So for any creature... So this isn't going to work, but I'm kind of just want to show it off. And we want to actually tap with match attribute. Yeah, see, so that actually needs to skip the ones that are summoning sick. I don't think missing attributes works. So I think we have... no, whatever. We're going to do missing attribute. I think I actually want to match it for like summoning sickness. But I don't, so that'll work. So that just put a heap of mana in our pool. Although, of course, we're not untapping with Jace. We're untapping with Rallying Roar. And the problem is we actually needed white, not blue. White. Well, actually, let's see that it doesn't work. To just, you know, prove that this is working. So cast... Roar for 2 white. 2 and a white. So this should fail. Oh well, should fail because of that reason. It should fail for a different reason. So add instant Rallying Roar. I'm also going to add Depths of Desire because we're going to use that too. Can't put instants into play. Yeah, see, a mana pool doesn't contain white. Oh no. I'll format that later. Okay, so that resolved. So this means that all of our creatures get +1/+1 counters. Well, actually, sorry, they don't get +1/+1 counters. They just get +1/+1 until end of turn. Whoops. So that is modify strength 1/1, I think. Yes, we don't need to. The game's gonna be finished before end of turn, so we don't really need to track that. But you can see everybody got. They're now bigger. See, Vona's now a 5/5. Pretty cool. And then we want to untap them. So I should put that in the wrong spot. So we float all the mana, we do that, we do that. Now we want to use Vona to destroy somebody else. So let's destroy the Bard. And actually, technically, we should be targeting here, even though they don't have hexproof. If they did have hexproof, this would tell us that they had a hexproof, which is pretty cool. Steward of Archive. And I'll just add that up here too. Here. Or Steward or Archive of. Great, it's gone. Now we want to float mana. Well, actually, now we need to be careful because we don't have any more untap effects and I'm a mana short. So I actually want to cast Depth of Desire gives me an extra mana. Actually, so we can't do this yet because we need to attack with Vona. Because we attack, untap with 10th District Veteran and then tap again. So we can't do that yet. How do we get this extra mana out? Just double check I got it right. As I said, this is I haven't actually solved this. This is kind of the approach that I was trying to take. So we've got 3 creatures that we're tapping for mana. Let's go back to the start. So we've got alright, so we cast Song of Release. Okay, now we use Vona, cast Wild Growth for effectively by just tapping 1. So we haven't tapped, so we just tap him, then we tap those 2. So we've tapped those 3. That untaps the Paladin, and we're going to tap it again. Alright, so that generates 2 free mana. That uses that mana to untap. So at this point we've got one floating. We can generate 2 more with Rallying Roar. When did we get 2 in our pool? I missed that. So we do Enter the Unknown. That triggers an Explore. Alright, so that gets us up to 2. And for instance, well, we may as well put the blue that we need in our pool. I'm trying to figure out if there's a point where we could have cast... Well, can we cast Depths of Desire before we use Jace? No. Or we could just cast Merfolk Branchwalker later. Maybe let's try that. Because... yeah, that should work. That should work, because we're not in a rush to get all that life. So maybe let's, if we cast Depths of Desire first, that'll give us that bonus mana we need. Alright, so let's do that. So I'll just use this trick. Alright, so we want to do that. We actually don't even want to cast Wild Growth yet. So we want to cast Depths on who's left? Altasaur, using creatures. Depths of Desire. Then none of that happens. Instead, we grab the temple. So that's fine. So now we're failed here. So now we need to activate Jace. Wait, and that's, sorry, I forgot to create our token. We want to add an... I've done this before, treasure. That's what we're getting, right? We're getting a treasure token? Yes. That's kind of using the old style thing, but whatever. Okay, so now we've got our treasure. Now we need to bring Jace. Yeah, this should work. Cool. Alright, now this will work. That will work. So now we can sacrifice our treasure. Add mana. Sorry, 1. Cool. Alright, that's much better. So now our opponent only has 2 things in play. Wait, attack, untap. I've missed an untap effect. Tricky, tricky. Okay, so we've used Vona here. I think we untap with Jace. We do a heap of stuff. We tap. Again. Rallying Roar. Then we attack. Wait, is it true that I get four taps? So I have 3 untap effects. So I tap Jace, tap Roar, attack. Oh, attack is a tap effect. Attack, untap, tap. So I only actually get 3. Unless I don't attack with him. But I need to attack because otherwise I don't have enough power to destroy them. Because we've got 5, 9, 13. Yeah, we have exactly 16 attacking power. Oh, that's not great. Alright. Is there a way to damage the Cacophodon? No. I don't have any effects that would do that. So the only way to damage that guy is to attack with it. But at that point it's too late, because then they can get, if they can block anything, then that's game over. So can we return a different creature to our hand with Depths of Desire that would let us do something? We can't return any of the ones that are on the board, because then they would lose, then that would gain Summoning Thickness. So I don't want to do that. I can't tap Vona, attack with 10th, untap Vona, and attack. Like, it doesn't really work like that. Creature. So at this point, everybody's ready to attack. But there are still 2 creatures on the board, and I can only get rid of one of them. Is there a way? Alright, so the opponent could sack Dauntless Bodyguard, and we could get that for free. Is there any way we could force them to do that? For free? Not really. Like, unless we could trick them somehow. But that's not gonna work. Feel like I'm missing something obvious. Because it all seems too neat, right? Like, we've got 15 life, that's exactly the right amount of life we need for 2 more activations of Vona. we've got exactly 16 attacking power, so that's great. And we're also out of mana. So like it feels sorry, I'll bring up the so we can all see what I'm looking at. So these lands are just normal lands. We can't bring the tap lands, the shock lands rather. Okay, explore. Does explore get us anything that we haven't used? No, because we've already explored all the stuff. I don't know. I think I'm stuck. Oh, Verna has vigilance. That's the yeah, so when Verna attacks, doesn't need to tap. Got it. Alright, well let's do that. With Druid. And I think the 10th District Veteran, not that it really matters there, but Vigilance. Also has lifelink, but doesn't matter in this case. Oh, okay, glad we figured that out. So now we attack with all. So let's list them out. So we're going to attack with the Famished Paladin. We're going to attack with the we're going to attack with Vona, and we're going to attack with our Crocodon. So now we do that, and it should have us that attacking creature not tapped, whereas, okay, so the vigilant ones are now not tapped. So that will trigger an untap effect from 10th District Veteran. In response, we're going to activate Vona. So actually, let's use a new step. Use Vona to destroy. Response to so we'll activate. I can use. Yep, that works. And this, I checked the rules earlier. This doesn't remove Vona from combat. Great. So now we tap with Vona. Oh, sorry, untap. Trigger out, tap Vona. Gone. There we go. Now we use Vona to destroy the Odon champion. Yes. Oh, and actually, I think we need to destroy this champion earlier. because the champion. Oh no, it's the bard that says creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1. So we actually need to destroy the bard earlier. So let me fix that up. So we'll just switch the ordering here. There we go. Now they're all in the graveyard. Hooray. And actually we should do validate life of 1 just to make sure that we didn't go below 0. You can see, you know, if that will fail. Now we can combat damage for the win. Is that how it works? Yep, so we can do 4 cards that match attribute attacking, combat damage with no blockers. That's what that empty array says. Validate life. Oops. The opponent is at 0. We did it! Hooray! Okay, so obviously, you know, we'd have to double check because this proof assistant doesn't prove that we solved it, it's just an assistant. But, you know, I think that's pretty neat. So now what we can do is we can actually, I'm using the debug formatter on the left. Let's say that I now wanted to, like, print out this solution to give to somebody else. So we want something that looks more like this. So the way this works is... this is not right. Step. Oops. Case view step number. Okay. Case view step number. Step of. So it's 1. We want to show. So it's 1. We want to show the entire state of the board. Otherwise, our default case is just going to be show attributes. There we go. So now you can see that our initial state has that stuff. Now, use Vona to destroy bodyguard. So I think what I want to do, whenever we destroy, I want to show defending creatures. So, so that would be a card formatter. So that's for match. Is that how we do it? No. Expected type formatter, actual type is... Oh, we need to give it a label. So, defending. Ah, yes, this is a good example of... So see how it says that 5 are defend... Oh no, because this it's match controller opponent and also match in play. Hey, there we go. So now we can also put that on 10 and 13 and 15. Yep, so that's pretty cool. We can also say when we attack with all, we want to show all the attacking ones. So we actually want to say match cool. And actually I'm thinking we might just always put the attributes in. Yeah, there we go. So now we can show what we're attacking. We show the life, you know, and we could also, you can you get the picture here. You could read through and say, okay, what do we want to show at each point to sort of prove or demonstrate, help the reader keep track of what's going on. All right, so here's our initial state. We cast Song of Free Release. So actually when we cast Depths on Altasaur, we also want to show the defending. So basically I kind of want to like tell this story of we're removing all the defending creatures. Yeah, I think this is good for now. Okay, let's clean up this documentation here. Attack with all. Yeah, I mean that's basically what we're doing. Okay. Why didn't that work? So we'll just amend that commit. Yep. Then we don't actually want to commit the main file. So solution for Religion 5. All right, that's Dovin. That's how you solve magic problems. Thanks for playing. I will see you all again at a future date.